NBC has a succession crisis on its hands. While we're told that ousted anchor Matt Lauer's intense, long-running jealousy over potential rivals has left the network with no male contenders for his empty chair, a disastrous November sweeps means that the network's banner hire, Megyn Kelly, isn't a viable replacement either. Industry insiders say that during his 20-year tenure at Morning Show Today, Lauer, who was booted last week after he was accused of sexually harassing colleagues, was so ruthless in maintaining his spot as the golden boy of NBC that Matt killed off, in their infancy, every man who could succeed him at the time that he was ready to hang it up, so there's nobody to take his place. And now NBC is paying the price. We're told that Lauer's maneuverings have ensured that potential heirs including David Gregory, Josh Elliott and Billy Bush never got a shot at being groomed for the gig. Before Bush was brought down by the infamous Access Hollywood tape with Donald Trump, he was already in Lauer's sights. As a result, the male frontrunner is Craig Melvin, a Weekend Today host of whom one network exec said, "I couldn't pick him out of a lineup." Meanwhile, we're told that Kelly isn't a viable savior for NBC. She was hired by the network amid great fanfare for a reported $23 million a year, but she just had the worst November sweeps ratings of any in the history of the 9 a.m. hour of Today. Across all demos, the all-important quarterly measurements of viewers tend to be higher in November than in July, when fewer people are watching TV in general, so the news that Kelly's numbers were lower in November than in July is particularly hair-raising for execs. Kelly took over in September. But network sources insist that Kelly doesn't want Lauer's old gig anyway. They also said Kelly has grown her audience since the show premiered. We're told that Hoda Kotb will continue to fill in for Lauer in the short term. Ironically, over at CBS, where Charlie Rose was let go, there are also no obvious big names to take over his role on CBS this morning. Katie Couric can't stop smiling after Matt Lauer gets fired. Katie Couric doesn't appear to have a care in the world, despite her former colleague Matt Lauer getting canned from the Today Show on Tuesday. His former co-anchor was spotted walking around Los Angeles on Thursday with an ear-to-ear grin on her face, looking unfazed by the NBC drama. Amid Lauer's sexual misconduct scandal, a 2012 clip of Couric from Watch What Happens Live surfaced in which she discussed Lauer's annoying habit. "He pinches me on the ass a lot," Couric said during the show's Plead the Fifth segment. NBC announced Wednesday morning that Lauer had been fired over sexual harassment allegations by an employee. Page Six later exclusively revealed that he allegedly sexually harassed an employee at the Sochi Olympics. Other women have since stepped forward with accusations of misconduct against Lauer. Lauer broke his silence on the matter Thursday morning. "There are no words to express my sorrow and regret for the pain I have caused others by words and actions," he said in a statement. "To the people I have hurt, I am truly sorry. As I am writing this I realize the depth of the damage and disappointment I have left behind at home and at NBC." Matt Lauer is weak and broken and ashamed after Today Show firing, Friend says. A week after NBC fired Matt Lauer, the ousted anchor is still reeling. He is weak and broken and ashamed by his own admission, one of Lauer's former Today Show colleagues tells People in this week's issue. "He is my friend," the colleague adds. "He is human, and he is flawed. But is he going to use his power to be a predator on women? Until I see solid evidence of that, I just can't believe it. We don't know the details." Lauer, 59, was terminated after the network received a detailed complaint from a colleague about inappropriate sexual behavior, with reason to believe this may not have been an isolated incident. A source later told People that Lauer was let go due to sexual misconduct with that woman throughout 2014, including at the Winter Olympics in Sochi, Russia. Another source with knowledge of the situation said Lauer had viewed this relationship as consensual and was dumbfounded by the accusation. In the wake of his firing, several insiders have told People that the veteran morning host was allegedly often unfaithful to his wife of 19 years, Annette Roque. Women have also anonymously accused him of sexual harassment and assault in reports published by Variety and The New York Times. "All of us are career women, and not one of us would have put up with an environment that's as distasteful as has been described," the colleague insists. "There was never anything I was offended by on any level. I wouldn't have put up with it. Neither would any of us." Lauer, who joined the network in 1992 as a newsreader on Today, had been co-anchor of the morning show since January 1997 and reportedly signed a $20 million contract last year, broke his silence on the allegations in a statement read Thursday morning by his former co-hosts on air. "There are no words to express my sorrow and regret for the pain I have caused others by words and actions," he said. "To the people I have hurt, I am truly sorry. As I am writing this, I realize the depth of the damage and disappointment I have left behind at home and at NBC. Some of what is being said about me is untrue or mischaracterized, but there is enough truth in these stories to make me feel embarrassed and ashamed." Last week, Lauer left New York City for the Hamptons home where Roque lives full-time with the couple's 3 children, son Jack, 16, daughter Romy, 14, and son Tace, 11. Another Today staffer told People that most employees inside Rockefeller Center are heartbroken over what's transpired and torn between the man they knew and Lauer portrayed by his accusers. "The reason people are so upset and people are crying on our staff, which is like 80% women, is because he was really loved and treated people really well," the staffer said. "And it's shocking to think that there could be this side." Matt Lauer allegedly sexually harassed a female NBC staffer during the Sochi Winter Olympics in 2014, sources told Page 6. An NBC insider said Lauer's alleged victim complained to HR on Monday, "This happened so quickly. She didn't go to the media, she made a complaint to NBC's Human Resources, and her evidence was so compelling that Matt was fired on Tuesday night." The victim says she has evidence that this has also happened to other women, but so far we don't have evidence of that. Sources initially told the Post that Lauer had been accused of sexual assault during the Sochi Olympics, but later said it was inappropriate sexual behavior. Another source tells us that the decision to fire Lauer was made late Tuesday by NBC News chairman Andy Lack. The woman's lawyer, Ari Wilkenfeld, said they met with NBC officials on Monday evening. "My client and I met with representatives from NBC's Human Resources and Legal Department at 6 p.m. on Monday. Over the course of several hours, my client detailed egregious acts of sexual harassment and misconduct by Mr. Lauer," Wilkenfeld said in a statement. "In fewer than 35 hours, NBC investigated and removed Mr. Lauer. Our impression at this point is that NBC acted quickly and responsibly, as all companies should when confronted with credible allegations about sexual misconduct in the workplace. While I am impressed by NBC's response to date, I am awed by the courage my client showed to be the first to raise a complaint and to do so without making any demands other than asking the company do the right thing. This is how the system should work," he added. Lauer's firing comes amid rumors that several news outlets were working on stories about his alleged sexual misconduct. Reporters for the New York Times had been investigating Lauer for several weeks, according to sources who had been contacted by the paper, CNN reported. His agent, Ken Lintner, did not immediately respond to calls and emails seeking comment. Lauer's co-anchor Savannah Guthrie made the stunning announcement Wednesday morning at the top of the show by reading a statement from Lack. "On Monday night, we received a detailed complaint from a colleague about inappropriate sexual behavior in the workplace by Matt Lauer. It represented, after serious review, a clear violation of our company's standards. As a result, we've decided to terminate his employment," Lack wrote. While it is the first complaint about his behavior in the over 20 years he's been at NBC News, we were also presented with reason to believe this may not have been an isolated incident, he continued. "Our highest priority is to create a workplace environment where everyone feels safe and protected, and to ensure that any actions that run counter to our core values are met with consequences, no matter who the offender. We are deeply saddened by this turn of events. But we will face it together as a news organization, and do it in as transparent a manner as we can." A visibly shaken Guthrie, who has worked with Lauer since 2012, said she was informed about his ouster just a few moments before going on the air. "We just learned this moments ago, just this morning. As I'm sure you can imagine, we are devastated and we are still processing all of this," she said. "And I will tell you right now, we do not know more than what I just shared with you. But we will be covering this story as reporters, as journalists. I'm sure we will be learning more details in the hours and days to come, and we promise we will share that with you." She added, "We are heartbroken. I'm heartbroken for Matt. He is my dear, dear friend and my partner, and he has been loved by many, many people here. And I'm heartbroken for the brave colleague who came forward to tell her story, and any other women who have their own stories to tell." In her segment Megyn Kelly Today later in the morning, Kelly, who left Fox News Channel after accusing former CEO Roger Ailes of sexual harassment, delivered a personal statement about the allegations. "This one does hit close to home. I too have known Matt for a long time and he has been a friend and kind and supportive to me in my transition to NBC News," she said. "And I see the anguish on my colleagues' faces. But when this happens, what we don't see is the pain on the faces of those who found the courage to come forward, and it is a terrifying thing to do." I have been at another news channel where this happened, as you know, and my experience as a news organization is bigger than any one person. They all face challenges, they all stumble, but the good ones stay standing and forge forward fulfilling their core mission, journalism. Guthrie's co-host Hoda Kotb called it a tough morning, noting that she has known Lauer for years and loved him as a friend and a colleague. It's hard to reconcile with what we're hearing with the man who we know, who walks in this building every single day, Kotb said. We were both woken up with the news, kind of pre-dawn, and we're trying to process it and trying to make sense of it, and it'll take some time for that. Today star Kathy Lee Gifford said Lauer deserves forgiveness. I'm grappling with, should I even share something? But I guess I really should, Gifford, 64, said during the 10 a.m. hour of the Today Show. Lauer's exing comes a week after CBS News fired one of its own morning anchors, Charlie Rose, after several women accused the CBS This Morning co-host of sexual misconduct. President Trump reacted to the news on Twitter. Wow, Matt Lauer was just fired from NBC for inappropriate sexual behavior in the workplace. But when will the top executives at NBC and Comcast be fired for putting out so much fake news? Check out Andy Lack's past. Comcast is NBC's parent company. Lauer, 59, was named co-anchor of Today in January 1997 after 3 years as the newsreader. His wife, Annette, famously filed for divorce in 2006, accusing him of cruel and inhumane behavior, but withdrew the filing a month later after they reached a private agreement. They ostensibly live separate lives. She lives full-time in the Hamptons with their children, while Matt resides in the city during the week. Today ratings soar in aftermath of Matt Lauer firing. NBC's Today Show is one of the nation's best-known sources of morning news. But when that news is about Today itself, the audience response to the program can be quite surprising. Today for the first time in many weeks was the nation's most-watched morning news program, defeating its main rival, ABC's Good Morning America, by more than 539,000 viewers for the 5 days ending December 1, or 12.4%. In the prior week, GMA won just 110,000 more viewers than Today. The NBC program last week attracted an average of 4.9 million viewers, compared with an average of 4.36 million for GMA and an average of nearly 3.53 million for CBS This Morning. Much of the surge can likely be attributed to the news, broken first in the early minutes of today's Wednesday, November 29, broadcast. The NBC News terminated veteran anchor Matt Lauer, citing allegations of inappropriate sexual behavior. Viewers were first to see troubled reactions to the news by Lauer's longtime colleagues Savannah Guthrie, Hoda Kotb, and Al Roker. Over the next 2 days, Today was early to report on a statement from Lauer, and featured reporting on the matter by NBC News correspondent Stephanie Gosk. But Today won more viewers than GMA on the Monday and Tuesday broadcasts prior to the eruption of interest surrounding the Lauer news, according to data from Nielsen. On Monday and Tuesday, Today attracted greater overall viewership than its ABC competitor, as well as more of the viewers whom advertisers in news programs care about, people between 25 and 54. Both NBC and ABC will likely give more attention to this week's audience measures to get a more normalized sense of viewership patterns surrounding the two shows. Season to date, Good Morning America is the most watched morning program TV, but by just a hair. GMA has captured an average of 4.329 million viewers this season, compared with 4.27 million for Today. The difference? A mere 59,000 viewers. As it has for many months, Today continues to lure more viewers between 25 and 54 than its two main rivals. Last week, with the Lauer drama in the background, the difference was more stark. Today captured an average of 1.292 million people in the advertiser demo, compared with 972,000 for GMA and 684,000 for CBS This Morning. Ad buyers have said they do not anticipate an anchor change at Today to spur major ratings fluctuations, but rival networks are likely to do what they can to woo NBC's viewers to